In this lecture, we will look into MapReduce versus RDBMS. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management Systems. Let's look at some of the RDBMS characteristics. It is good for updating a small portion of a big database. It uses a traditional B tree, which is highly dependent on the time required to perform seek operations. MapReduce characteristics include: it is good for updating all or a majority of a big database. It uses sort and merge to rebuild the database, which depends more on transfer operations instead of the seek operations. RDBMS is good for applications that require the dataset of the database to be very frequently updated, for example, point queries or small dataset updates. MapReduce is better for write once and read many times, warm-based data applications. MapReduce is a complementary system to RDBMS. Let's look at an example where we compare a little bit about the features, the pros and cons of RDBMS to MapReduce. The data size of a good RDBMS system is like a gigabyte or smaller, where MapReduce systems work well for petabytes, terabyte type systems. Access in RDBMS is interactive and batch, where for MapReduce it is batch oriented. Updates in RDBMS are read and write many times, where for MapReduce we have warm, write once and read many times. And I will talk about more on this. In terms of data structure, RDBMS is static schema and MapReduce is dynamic schema. We will talk more about SQL comparing it to Hadoop on schema terms in the next lecture. In terms of integrity, RDBMS is high and MapReduce is low. But on the other hand, it looks at the overall structure of the whole data set. Scalability, RDBMS is nonlinear, where MapReduce is linear. Now we look into some data types. Structured data. This is data that has a formal defined structure. What type of data is structured data? Well, this is an example of something that you've looked at. XML documents or database tables or what you put into an Excel file to draw a graph. Then the data that you put into an Excel file, if it doesn't fit the exact format that is used in there, the Excel system will not accept it. This type of data is what we call structured data. It has a defined structure. It is predefined on what you're going to put in there, and you have to put in the data that fits its category only. Semi-structured data is much looser. It has a format where the data structure is used as a guide and in some cases may be ignored. When you put semi-structured data into a structured data form, like an Excel file, then in a lot of cases, a lot of the data may be filtered out and not used. And therefore, if you look at an Excel file where you put a lot of semi-structured data inside, a lot of the values there will be null, 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 non-acceptable. That's what happens when you use semi-structured data to put into a structured data system. There will be conflicts. And this is why, how will I use the semi-structured data to extract information from it? This is very important, especially because big data systems have one of the challenges where the data types are so diverse, then the variety of data is growing and growing every day. This is why we need to look into semi-structured data and unstructured data, because these data types are growing and we want to find a way that we can use them to extract information and make intelligent decisions. Here, unstructured data is data that does not have any formal structure. It's plain text, or it's coming from an image, or it's coming from a picture, or some type of sound, acoustic sound, a voice conversation, various other things that can all be used. And these three data structures are where the true advantage and power of a big data system like Hadoop will show and shine brightly to your advantage. MapReduce is a very effective system when it deals with unstructured and semi-structured data. Why? Well, MapReduce interprets data during the data processing sessions. MapReduce does not use intrinsic properties of the data as input keys and input values. Parameters used are selected by the person, the programmer that is analyzing the data. So there is a wide variety of things that the programmer or the user or the person that needs to make the query is going to use. MapReduce has a programming model that is linearly scalable, which is a true advantage of MapReduce and Hadoop. There are two function types, map function and reduce function, and in the following lecture we will talk much more about these. Both of these functions define a key value pair that is used. So we have key value pair 1, key value pair 2, and these are the extracted values and information that we do from the overall data set that we are analyzing in our big data engine. These are the references that I used, and I recommend them to you.